That evening, Mr. Utterson came home to his bachelor house in somber spirits and down to dinner. It was his custom on the Sunday, when this meal was over, to sit comfortably in his chair to read a good book and water his plants, until the clock of the neighboring church rang out the hour of 12, when he would go soberly and gratefully to bed. On this night, however, as soon as the cloth was taken away, he went into his business room. There he opened his safe, took from the most private part of it a document endorsed on the envelope as Dr. Jekyll's will, and sat down with a clouded brow to study its contents. In the case of the decease of Henry Jekyll, all his possessions were to pass into the hands of his friend and benefactor Edward Hyde, but that in case of Dr. Jekyll's disappearance or unexpected absence for any period exceeding 3 calendar months, the said Edward Hyde should step into the said Henry Jekyll's shoes without further delay.
Thought this was madness, but begin to fear its disgrace. Who is Mr. Hyde?
And hitherto it was his ignorance of Mr. Hyde that had swelled his indignation. Now, by a sudden turn, it was his knowledge. It was already bad enough when the name was but a name, of which he could learn no more. It was worse when it began to be clothed upon with detestable attributes.
If anybody will know, we'll be Lanyon.
After a little rambling talk, the lawyer led up to the subject which so disagreeably preoccupied his mind.
Suppose, Lanyon, that you and I are the 2 oldest friends that Henry Jekyll has.
I suppose we are. And what of him? I see little of him now.
Indeed. Would have thought that you 2 shared a bond of common interest.
We had, but it has been 10 years since Henry Jekyll became too fanciful for me. He began to go wrong in mind. And though I keep an interest in him for old sake's sake, as they say, I see and have seen devilish little of the man. Such unscientific balderdash.
Tell me, did you ever come across one of his protégés, one Hyde?
Hyde? No, never heard of him. Since my time.
That was the amount of information that the lawyer carried back with him to the great dark bed, on which he tossed to and fro until the small hours of the morning began to grow large.
he be Mr. Hyde, then I'll be Mr. Seek.
From that time forward, Mr. Utterson began to haunt the door in the by-streets of shops, in the morning before office hours, at noon when business was plenty and time scarce, at night under the face of the fogged city moon. The lawyer was to be found on his chosen post. And at last his patience was rewarded. Mr. Utterson had been some minutes at his post when he was aware of an odd light footstep drawing near.
Mr. Hyde, I think?